This is Real Women, celebrating women in independent film. My name's Brenda Daly, and I am here with Toni Brigel. Hi, Toni. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
And we're going to be talking about independent filmmaking. Toni is an actress and a writer. She has worked on several feature films here in town. We're super excited to have her here. And how's your day going?
Oh, I'm having a great day. Thank you.
So, Toni, what projects have you been working on?
Oh, well, I'm one of these crazy people that I really didn't get into acting until I was retired from being a teacher. So I was a teacher, English teacher for 16 years, and then a college professor for 24 years. And when I retired, I said, I'm going to do things that I've always wanted to do and never had time to do. And oddly enough, acting was one of them.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are getting into a second career. I think there was something in Forbes magazine that had said that the average person has 4 careers in their lifetime. So it sounds like you did the teacher and then you did the professor, and now you're doing the filmmaking, or you're doing the acting and you're doing the writing. So you're right on board with all of that.
Well, I'm an editor, and I edit just about everything. That's my actual little income business. And as a writer, though, I've always wanted to write teenage disaster novels, so that's what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. How many have you written?
2, and I'm into my 3rd one right now.
Nice. And are you published, or you don't know? Not yet?
They're on Amazon.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, and I have lots of academic stuff on Amazon, but who wants to read annotated bibliography of cooperative learning?
I'll tell you what, the big thing right now that everybody's doing is they're selling their knowledge. So I know you make it sound like it's not, but actually, if you were to do a teaching video with your material, that's where you would make your money, because that's where the world is today. People aren't looking into books. They're looking towards people who teach them things, and that's how they're making money. So you could go, I'm sure, and then of course, then they would buy your book because that would be in your link, and so that's just another avenue you could go. Just so you know.
Yeah, well, that's a research book, but I definitely have thought along those lines, especially on grammar and stuff that kids just don't get exposed to anymore. I mean, I'm just appalled at what I read on Facebook and various other social media.
Well, I think too, it's because everything's spell check and spell correct and punctuation correct you can do it on your phone, or you can do it. So I understand why they're probably it's just because they've been allowed to be a little lazy, because I know that's, I use that a lot. I was a terrible student, just so you know.
Oh, no. Well, not very many people are really interested in quality English anymore. I mean, everybody thinks, well, I can do it my own way. The trouble is, you have to communicate, and there has to be a standard, in my opinion.
Well, I think, too, if you want to rise to the level of, being in, especially in filmmaking, you want to be in the top above line area, and if you're in the above line, you do need to be able to speak eloquently, write eloquently, be able to compose a letter. I'm actually taking these classes into the business of acting, and it's all about making sure everything's punctuated and make sure that you're doing a cover letter correctly, and making sure that things are formatted correctly, so that even as an actor, because as an actor, you're your own business.
Yeah.
So an actor has to do everything a big business does. They have to send out query letters or cover letters just to get agency and management. And of course, agencies and management want to make sure that if they know you're sending that stuff out to them correctly, that when they send you on an audition or get you in the room, that you can do all those things that they need you to do to make them look better.
Exactly. Well, that's... I know editors and producers, they get piles and piles of scripts, and they get some little assistant that they pay $10 an hour to go through, and if they can't read it, it goes in one pile. I mean, they'll separate them like that. And I've done that myself. I will look at a pile of manuscripts and I'll go, nope, 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 nope. Maybe. Nope. No.
I mean, I don't think it's all. I know if the idea is good too. I mean, I think they do understand with the world that's in today that, this is what my mother always told me, because I cannot punctuate and I have a hard time putting things together. She always tells me, well, you're a creative, so you can pay people for that. But I think basically what you're saying is that if you have a good script and you have a good idea, and maybe your spelling and your punctuation aren't good or not perfect, then you want to hire somebody or pay somebody like you
hire somebody like me
to make sure that it looks great and make sure your materials look good, so that when you pitch it to them, producers or executive producers or people that are actually going to spend money on these films, when you pitch it to them, they have everything they need to pitch it to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy.
That's right. People who don't have the skills that I have in, the language and the writing, very often have wonderful ideas. And, I love to sit and brainstorm with somebody and say, oh, cool, write it down. Just put words in a row. I can fix the words, but I cannot fix your ideas.
Right. I think that the people that also who edit and everything are very, very valuable. And I think, too, that just goes right back to the very beginning is, you can have a great idea and you can have a great storyline, but you definitely need a team to help you make sure that your package looks correct.
Exactly. You don't do it by yourself.
Never.
You may have the idea, but developing the idea takes huge numbers of people. Just watch the credits on a movie one of these days. I mean, some of them have 1,000 people listed, for crying out loud.
Because I just finished my first feature and, we're getting on the screen, but, I have a lot of people come to red carpet because people donated because I did it for such a low budget.
Yeah.
But even then, I watch a lot of these independent films and they look great. We went and saw Death Count the other day, and it looked fantastic and the acting was great, but I do understand why the Hollywood reason, you can make a $200,000 film look like a $500,000 film, but unless you spend $1 million, it's not going to look like $1 million film, because there are people. Post-production is the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
So, and it costs a lot of money to get those extra special effects and all those extras, because those people are at a upper echelon of what they do.
And they're paid up front.
Exactly. Especially with the studios. I mean, they have access to all those people. So those people are paid on the salary.
That's right.
But, so for the independent guy, it's a little harder. It's Death Count was great. It was flawless. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, probably if it was in a Hollywood, that was the only thing that I would say is, and that wasn't them, it's all films. Right. All films. You could take any independent film, and if you kind of ring it through the Hollywood market, it would look like a completely different film.
Yeah. I mean, each part of the filmmaking business has a specialist.
Yeah, but independent, we kind of scratch and scratch and claw a little bit, but that's just where everybody starts, and that's how you learn.
Yeah. You have to learn it.
Absolutely.
And you have to know what you need and where your weaknesses are.
And so, do you have a feature film script that you have written?
Yeah, 2 or 3, doesn't everybody?
Yeah, do you have any finished?
They're finished, yeah.
And is there anything you could pitch to us here?
No.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of NDAs and everything are very important, but I think that. So let's go on to your acting then. Okay. So, what feature films or what films do you have coming up?
Well, The Factory with Mike McKenna, that's in production right now. And then I just finished a little student film with Darlene Hernandez.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of her.
Yeah. And that was real interesting. I offered my backyard for part of the filming, and I got to see them set up everything and green screens in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
It was a really enjoyed working with the college kids, the ones who were just learning because they were so excited.
Yeah, I think too. Well, I just interviewed Deborah Richards, and she went to CSN, and she is an amazing filmmaker. Like, oh my God. But yes, I do believe that they are learning. But so the difference between college learning and School of Hard Knocks, though, I think, which is where I come from, I think that they definitely get a lot more guidance from people who have done it. And then, of course, those people have to slow down, where when you're doing it from the School of Hard Knocks, you're always constantly catching up. Right? You're constantly on the catch up.
That's what I'm doing with filmmaking. I'm School of Hard Knocks.
Yes. Yes. Well, you have other knowledge, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm this, to me, is just for fun. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to win an Academy Award, though of course that's what I would like. But I just want to see if I can do it, because for 40 years I was a teacher, and basically I did improv for 40 years, 6 hours a day. I mean, that's what teachers do.
Right. And I think to keep the kids awake, you got to be a little entertaining.
Oh, you got to be a little crazy. I mean, most of my students remember me.
Right. Well, no, that's important. So, and I think that actually people at any age can get into acting. I don't think, and they can make a living at it. I mean, you and I know Dee Catrone, and I do know a lot of people that have gotten to it later in life. I don't think age really matters. You're either an actor or you're not. And then the minute you tell somebody you're an actor, you never tell anybody your hobby is, because then agencies and management won't take you serious. And the fact that you are a woman of a certain age, it makes you valuable. It does. It makes you valuable, because a lot of women that are of a certain age won't put themselves on camera because they'll be like, oh, they worry about everything, their hair, their whatever. Oh my God, do I look older? But really, that's your selling point. But that's your selling point. I mean, if they need a lady with white hair to play a homeless person, or to play a teacher, or maybe she's just a woman that's a little rough around the edges, and maybe she killed her husband because he would, like, these are just ideas coming out. Maybe she killed her husband because she was just sick of him after years and years and years, or maybe she was doing the arsenic and Olace thing, and she could be a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's really hard to find those people. Yeah. Take a few men out. But I mean, you could literally...
I think Dee and I should get together and do something.
Oh, that would be super fun.
Hysterical.
Yes. Well, I think that, so I don't think you're right about it always being a hobby. I think, too, when you pronounce yourself as something, you just need to say that's what you are, and then continue to do the work.
I don't think of it as a hobby because I'm serious about it and I want to make money at it.
Correct.
So, to me, that's not a hobby.
Right, and there's a part for everybody, really. And the thing is that there's always a part for uniquely you, because even though you and Dee are kind of the same type, you're completely different.
Oh, yeah.
You're your own person, she's her own person, your personalities are different. So they may be looking for somebody, even though they might put up the criteria, they might be looking for someone more like you than somebody like Dee. I think Dee's a little more serious. I mean, she can be funny, but she's a little more on the serious side, where you're a little more like quirky. You're a little quirkier than her. So I think that, and then other, so it just depends. I think, and that's what I've been learning, is that it doesn't really matter. Everybody has a selling point. You just have to continue to move towards it.
What I would like is to play George Clooney's mother.
Yes.
You hear that, George?
Yeah, we just want to get in the room with George. Hi, George. Hey, you know what? You got to say it. You got to put it out there, because you just never know.
I know it.
I mean, look at people that we've actually known. Cheryl Prater played Bruce Willis's wife in the upcoming movie, and she started at 50. So don't say it's not possible. It's very possible.
No. Well, I've had a lot of impossible things happen in my life.
So I know I was going to ask you what your dream role is. Is there any other kind of dream roles that you would like to play?
No, other than George Clooney's mother.
Do you want to kill him, though, and bury him in the backyard? Or, what do you want to do with him?
No, I just want to meet him. I think he and I get along great. He's really funny.
Yes, I think that the whole team of those guys are like Brad Pitt. They're all kind of like a little team, like a roaming squad. I think they would, all of them would be interesting to work with.
Brad Pitt is from Springfield, Missouri, and I taught at the university there for 6 years.
Oh, did you meet him?
No. Darn it.
Yeah, no, I think he's a really good actor. I think he's very in depth, for sure.
Yeah.
So, because this is Real Women Celebrating Women
Real
in
Women,
Independent Film,
yeah.
what woman in film had inspired you to want to act?
Actually, it's been more my students that I've worked with that have inspired me to want to act. Not necessarily the actors themselves. I mean, I don't think of actors as being particularly special people.
Oh, we're special, all right.
Yeah,
but
well-
no, see, for me, it would be like Barbara Streisand or Bette Midler. Like, those are extremely intelligent. They're
yeah.
they can do anything. And they are special people, because you cannot get where you want to go. Even the Lady Gagas of this world, you cannot get there without working. They're very intelligent people.
Yes. That's not what I meant. I've met a lot of actors, I mean, over the years. When I worked in the United Arab Emirates, I was over there working in a women's university for 14 years. And of course, the Emiratis have a lot of money, and they brought in all kinds of actors and tremendous shows and things just because they could, as much as anything else. And you know, I went out of my way to, well, like Toni Brigel, I met her. Vin Diesel was over there filming. They filmed Star Wars over there. And I went out into the desert to try to find it, and of course, never did. Just the idea, I respect media, the impact it has on society, and the concept of acting where you pretend to be something else, I think is real interesting. Actually, I think my interest in acting, well, I've always been interested in acting myself, and ever since elementary school, I've been part of school plays and everything, and I sang.
But you had said that you didn't think they were that special, and the thing is
Well,
that you
no.
have to work really hard.
Top of the line actors, and this is what I'm kind of getting to in a roundabout way. In my middle school, where I taught in Arkansas, of course, we had a lot of good actors come out of Arkansas. But she taught drama, and she and I were best buddies. She was about 10 years older than me, my second mother, you might say. And we started going to the Arkansas, I forget what it was called, but in Little Rock, they had a company where they put on a different play.
Right.
Every professional actors put on plays every month. And we went. And I began to realize, as I watched these actors develop, that acting was something that did get better over time. That you take a young actor, and if they really work at their craft, they can get better and better at it.
So basically, you were saying that anybody could become an actor as long as they're willing to put the work involved.
Right. And
so that's what you meant.
As a teacher,
right.
I felt that I'd been acting in front of my kids for years.
Of course.
And I always wondered, you know, I didn't want to be on stage because I'm not going to memorize a bunch of stuff, but I always thought acting for movies where they did little tiny bits every now and then would just be perfect, you know, for me.
Right. Well, people have done whole careers on that.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me as far as acting is that people don't understand that there's an actual science to it. And I've actually been learning that there's difference between set acting. Self-tape acting is a whole different. So, and there's actually a science to it. And so I feel like people who are really actors that are really putting the effort and the energy to it, is they're learning things, a skill set that people on the outskirts like, oh, I want to be an actor. Okay, I'm going to be in this film and do a bit part. It's your reason why, first of all, there's a lot of competition because actors that are spending their entire whole being working out the science of it, because it's a science.
Oh, yeah,
it's a science job.
yeah.
It's a psychology job. So when they're doing that, those are the people that are succeeding and bumping people out, because people they get up one day and they say I'm an actor, but they don't put any effort towards it.
Right, and they think because they're pretty faced that's all it takes to be an actor, and I clue you that is very little to
No,
do
you
with it.
have to go with the format, and you have to go with the science, and then you have to find. Once you find out, once you know it all, which I don't know if you'll ever know it all, but once you work towards it and know what is expected of you, then you have to work out that nuance is how to show, especially hi camera, I love you camera. You have to love the screen, and then you have to show that screen what's special about you in particular, and those are the ones that are making it. Because everybody has something special and unique about them, but it's those, there's one teacher in class, he said to me, or to the whole class, he said, you need to get up every morning, and whether it's your iPhone or you have a camera or your self-tape setup, you need to literally walk up to that lens and you need to say, hi, how are you today? My best friend in the whole wide world, because because it'll relax you so that's a tip for any new actors. If you don't have the money to spend on classes, the first thing you need to do is just start finding old monologues and working them out in front of your new best friend, your camera, whether it's your phone or whatever. And then of course the second thing you need to learn is how to set up your self-tape studio, because a lot of agents now, they want you to submit a self-tape, not because, they want to see you act, obviously, but the other thing is they want to know, is your studio set up correctly? Because if it's not, they're not going to take you, because they do not want to send out crappy tapes.
Okay.
Learned something new today, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Well, I've been trying to apply for some of these jobs, and they want a self-tape, and I go,
you have to do it. If you're going to get up in the morning and you say I'm an actor, first thing you better do is set up that self-tape studio, and it's not that expensive. I think it'll cost $150 to get the correct lighting. You can paint a wall if you don't want to put something on the wall. And then there's a color that you have to put on the wall. It's usually about the color of your sweater here.
Yeah.
So, and then of course don't wear that color in front of it. And then you need to stand about 3 feet away.
Okay.
So yeah, I could teach you that, no problem. But anyway,
see, now you're a mentor to me,
right? But you know what? And the thing is, the difference between the older generation and the younger generations. The younger generations know all of this stuff. When we were acting, this is not how it worked. You went down, you read the script, you broke it down, then you did the audition. Now you've got to be a technological genius, in order to circumvent the world system that everybody's on. And so I think it's super important that you do it. So where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Dead.
Oh, stop. That was very funny though. You're hilarious. No, really, what would you like to see? Would you like to see your scripts being filmed? Maybe a named actor? Could you name an actor that you would like in one of your 3 films that you can't talk about?
Maybe besides George Clooney.
Oh, God. George, if you're listening, please call Toni now. Okay.
Can we mail this to him in some way?
You can put it online and hopefully get to him, and then you can hashtag him and see if he'll pick it up. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about a hashtag, right? We can do that. I'm going to do that for you. Okay. But I'm serious. What would you like your scripts to be in 5 years?
My scripts? Well, I would like them. I haven't thought about my scripts. Now, I would like my books to be turned into a series on TV.
Oh, well, there you go. So that's pretty much the goal, is you want to be able to pitch your books in order to make them become series.
Right. And, I'll write the basic script and then they can rip it apart however.
Yeah, that's the thing about being a script writer, is usually what you sell is not what they're going to show on screen. As long as you're making money, what do you care? It's a business.
Well, I'm well aware that this whole thing is a business. That has been drilled into my head year after year. Yeah. And so that's kind of what I want, is to make a little money at it. Not a lot.
Of course not. A lot
would be nice.
Just to say that I'm a pro. I sold this. I did this. No, I get it.
Exactly.
You have your career. you've done okay. And that's great. And that's why a lot of people are doing it, is because it's more self-enrichment. But the ultimate goal is to sell something and make some money so you can say, I am a pro.
Yeah, it's kind of like winning a prize. If somebody gives you a check and says, this is good enough to pay money for, then I go.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Well, this was really fun.
Oh, good.
I really
good.
enjoyed this. What's the time, Stephen, on this?
30 minutes.
Okay, great. So this was super fun. I'm with Toni Brigel. This is Real Women, Celebrating Women in Independent Film. Today we're celebrating Toni, and I'm also here with Action Shot Studios. If you're looking to make a podcast or anything, please contact Steven Sebo. I will make sure I put the link down below.